Hey everybody, thought I would show some pages that I would take to conventions. Well, one convention a year. This portfolio pages to try to get a job there. I picked Wizard Chicago Con because online it said that they had a port submission reviews. I forget the guy who did it, but I don't even think he was an editor. In fact, I think he was an artist. I mean, which is cool. You want to learn, but I was wanting to get a job, and I was there's still like a lot of, I mean, there still is a lot of people that I don't know in comics, but at, this was in 2012, and then yeah, I didn't really know a whole lot about these the people that were in comics other than like the big names from last time I really paid attention to comics when I was younger, like the Jim Lee, and I remember I taught Michael Turner and David Finch, yeah, because when I was coming back in, those guys uh, were really popular. And like a side note, Travis Sherray, like I seen his work, I guess, but he, I completely didn't see his work or not really know who he was until like I don't know, probably 7 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. Anyway, um, so this one I did one before this. I got a script. Oh, loud motorcycle going by. Um, there was a Batman script. I forget where I got it, somewhere online, but it was like a 5 pager. I think a lot of people got that Batman script. It was like one where Batman's looking in on Gotham, and then some crooks break into a car and carjack it, and there's like the people's kid was in the back seat. Anyway, I did that one, and after I got done doing it, I was like, all right, I'll take this portfolio to. Then I seen had a Wizard Con was in August, so I still had a lot of time because this was like April that I got done with that. So I started working on this one. These pages were taking me. It doesn't to me. It doesn't look like they were that difficult, but these took me like a really long time, like 2 weeks a page, I think. um, and I just made up my own story. This is this is supposed to be a flashback scene. They're 92 was when Wayne's World came out. Wayne's World 1. So these kids are on a date. They're like young teens, and then we go to this guy. The close up on his face, he's supposed to look like he's smiling. Um, and then we go down the last panel. It's a much older face, so it's this guy when he's older though. Uh, since then, I've been told not to do what do you call it, flashbacks during for submission reviews because it's easy to. The whole point of portfolios as an artist is to for the storytelling to be be clear, and you don't need to have captions. You don't want to have captions. You want to understand everything that's going on. So flashbacks are general rule of thumb is don't use those as portfolios that you bring into conventions. Um, anyway, yeah, looking at these like the hatching that I was doing, like in my head I could see the hatching that I wanted, but looking at this now, I could tell that's my hand-eye coordination. It's like an untrained hand trying to do the hatching. I guess just same thing as like when you're shooting basketballs or shooting pool balls, whatever. You got to do it over and over and over to achieve the look that you want. And hatching still bothers me, or I have trouble with it. Oh yeah, okay. So this guy, this is him now, grown up, and he's pretty upset, and then he's looking at a building, and this was supposed to be like the inside of the building. Spider-Man has something around his neck, and Vulture's beating him up, no problem. And then he sees him there. He's about to, I don't know, Spider-Man's about to be done in, and this guy is supposed to be saying some stuff, trying to leave space for word balloons, and then out of nowhere, as he's about to kill him, Rhino comes blasting through the wall and knocks out Vulture. So for some reason, uh, Rhino's upset at Vulture. He takes his little wrist thing off. I guess that was the thing controlling um, the collar that was on Spider-Man. It's probably to like keep him depowered. Uh, let's see. Oh, and then one critique I got on this was because I was showing this to mostly artists. I think I showed it to one editor. The editor didn't really give me much notes, but the artist, Talon Caldwell, he said that you can see I kind of erased a few of these um, bricks because Talon Caldwell said that David Finch told him to not have everything so uniform, like break it up a little bit, and like with an eraser is an easy way to break it up. So that's what I did before I showed like anyone else. But I think since then, I kind of see what David Finch meant by breaking it up is, like you could add more like cracks or something or missing chunks of the brick instead of just having a full uniform thing. Um, but also, Talent Caldwell told me to, because he said that this stuff was pretty loose still. I mean, it might be fine if you actually have the job, but you want to have your pencils as tight as possible, is what he told me, for when you're looking for work anyway. It's like, all right. Uh, oh, and then also, um, speaking of Talent Caldwell, he told me that there was something off about this, but he couldn't quite explain it to me. Um, and yeah, I see it's off. It's like his pelvic area kind of disappeared, and or I could have, yeah. Anyway, then there's a tangent on that. Like I was aware of tangents, but I didn't really. I don't know. They still happen to me. So his foot touching this line, that just kind of draws attention needlessly. Oh yeah. So anyway, I was trying to go for a story of like Spider-Man's trying to protect himself from Rhino. Rhino's like trying to tell him, "Hey, no, I heard you got a cure because my his he needs help from him." So anyway, they take off. They're jumping down the city, and there was a artist named Bo Hampton. I think he did work for Dark Horse Comics for on something. He told me that I always have to have something touching the middle, like whether it's this guy's elbow should be touching the middle of like for every panel. And I don't know if he like I'm sure he knows what he's talking about, but like how I interpreted that was to like do like this and have the main character at the middle of every single panel where but later on I got told by like numerous people don't have everything like right in the center of the panels because then that's just like a pattern that people pick up um, consciously or subconsciously that you just it becomes boring and the people get disinterested with the visual storytelling. Oh yeah, and then okay, so then these guys they went back to their flashback. They're done with the movie. He's like um, told the car to stop and then stopped, and she's like all happy about how the evening's going, I guess, and they're close up on their hands. It's like some like young romance kind of thing. And then we're brought back to now, and this is that his girlfriend from the flashbacks, and anyway, it works. She's coming back. They're saying like, "Hey, her pulse or blood pressure or whatever is coming back." Some doctoral terms. I don't know. I made this story up. I didn't come up with script for it. And so he's all happy, and he drops Spider-Man because someone says, "Hey, she's waking up," and it's like that's supposed to be your hand moving, but it's yeah, not very done. And then the what do you call this? The blanket for the for the this blanket that's over her. That's funny. Like I could talk normal until I'm like talking into a microphone. But anyway, so he drops Spider-Man. He's like, "Oh, what's going on?" And this nurse is asking, "Spider-Man, are you okay?" And I went with like a basic grid, which is another thing I was told you should do for submissions. Just keep everything as basic as possible so you get a job. And then they're talking, and then I'll go back to the flashback of their first. It was supposed to be their first date, and anyway, yeah, it's page 8. This was for 2012. I think it was August 2012. Yeah, it was. Um, and then so I was like, all right, okay, for next year I'll do better. I was working on this one again. These were taking me like forever. The perspectives and the backgrounds would slow me down so much. I'd just be like intimidated by them. So I would I don't know. And then getting a ruler, working with that stuff, I was very intimidated by that. So yeah, these pages were still taking me like 2 weeks. This is another story I just kind of came up with in my head. Hulk is fighting a bunch of supposed to be vampires, and then he sees another vampire is taking away his. I think her name's Betty, his girlfriend, wife, whatever. Anyway, he sees the vampire bite her, and he wakes up. I think I did better on the bed sheet, so that's going over the hospital. This was all like a dream he was having, so I did that again. I didn't. So the flashback thing, I didn't. Nobody really told me that until I think like 20 after this year. Is when they're like, you should just avoid flashbacks, or maybe it was during this year. Um, but anyway, so I did a flashback with this, and the clothing folds always got knocked for that. They would bring that up. Oh, and anatomy. So anatomy, clothing folds. It was mostly anatomy for this stuff. When I showed it to people, they're like, you got to work on your anatomy and making dynamic camera angles. Um, so before, I don't think I get too much talk about their clothing or anything, probably because the people I was showing my work to were like, this guy needs to get know anatomy first before he does any before we get to clothing. Um, yeah, so like these like her dress and stuff, like I don't know. To me, it made sense in my head at the time. I mean, I could see it now, and I'm like, that just looks like weird. I don't know, some kind of stylization that doesn't fit. Anyway, so he woke up. That was Ed Banner, and then this is the General Ross, and he's telling. I don't know. They're talking to each other, and then Bruce is explaining what happened. Back to the flashback. Bruce, from this scene right here, where that guy bit her. Bruce Hulk jumps at them, and then he gets taken off screen. And but so someone told me, like, I forget which one it was. I brought this to a bunch of people. Wait, no, I didn't bring this. I brought this to my friends because I didn't bring this one to the convention. Anyway, one of my friends said that because it's supposed to be a bunch of vampires. You could see their legs sticking out of the panel. A bunch of vampires were supposed to like intercept Hulk there and knock him off the panel, but they were saying that looks way too weak of a way to show that. You know, maybe at least make the camera widen on them bigger or go from a different angle. Um, all that made sense, and anyway, I kept going with these pages. Now this vampire guy has her at the top of a building because that's just where all evil doers do their stuff, is at the very top of a building, I guess. And then there's Hulk. He's on another. He's supposed to be looking up because he's on a smaller building, and he has all these vampires on them. So he jumps up. There's his foot. He jumps up, knocking these guys off. And again, it's like all the action is um, like maybe I could have put all the action like more in the center and then show before these guys got knocked off, or he could have threw them all off and then have like a inset panel of him jumping. uh, Numerous ways to get around that, and he's supposed to have jumped onto that building, and he's climbing up the building, and they got another vampire trying to intercept, gets him, and the Hulk just smashes him inside this building here, and he makes it to the top, and he's jumping right to, I was really proud of this when I did that. um, Now it looks I don't know, I don't like his face. I know it's small and stuff, and then also like he's these people are in the foreground, so of course they're bigger, or they look bigger, but Hulk looks way too tiny to, even though he's, I mean, because he's huge, you know. I should have made him a little bit bigger, or just brought these guys heads or side of their heads. Anyway, there's Betsy. She's a little bit surprised, and then she's able to stop Hulk from. It was kind of like that Avengers movie when they had Scarlett Johansson bring Hulk back. I think it was the second one. That's um, so I came. I didn't get it from that movie. I came up with it way before the Avengers thing, but I'm sure it was done in the comics at some point, something like that anyway. But Betsy Ross is able to turn him back into his human form, and but this, she did it more like a magical way, not a singing a lullaby and massaging his hand or anything. And then so he looks at himself. That's man, I really did not do that face very good, and his eyes are just huge. I had a tough time for the longest time drawing eyes too big. Um, and this is 2013 that I did this one. Oh yeah, now all the vampires are coming up, and Betsy's got her powers going, and it looks like he's about to be done in, because these are the people, they're like listening in or watching in from a different location. And oh yeah, I remember this. I drew these all blacked out because it's supposed to be like nighttime and there's no power in New York City. It's always New York City, but there's no power over there, so everyone's watching from a distance. And then vampires are all around Bruce Banner. They This is supposed to be the behind Bruce's head. He's looking up at the sky and he's like praying for a miracle. And he's like, "Come on!" And I stole this from a. And the lightning comes down, hits him, and forces him back into the Hulk, because you know Hulk's always like trying to keep. He always keeps him from dying, and whenever he tries to like hurt himself. I think I could have made Hulk much bigger, and these guys flying off way better, but that didn't work. Um, oh yeah, and I was gonna say I stole this scene from this idea. He's looking up at the sky and is like about to be, you know, turned into a vampire or killed or something, and he's just like counting on something from the sky to help him out, and it was lightning. It was from Flash. I forget which Flash comic it was. Really old one when he's fighting the, what's that guy's name? The Yellow Flash is Doctor Zoom, I think. Anyway, he's fighting that guy, and like he's about to be the Yellow Flash guy has the upper hand. He's about to kill. Um, Man, now I forget the other Flash's name. Not Alan, but I think it was Barry. And that's what happened. He looked up at the sky and he was like expecting something, and then lightning came down, because I think Barry was the one that got hit by lightning that made him fast. Uh, so anyway, yeah, I just took it from that and put it into the portfolio review. Oh, and then so Hulk grabs the leader guy, and he's all his minions are trying to stop him as he's gonna like impale him with the stake. And so in how I did it was I figured he did, but instead of showing that part, because this is, you know, this is like Marvel Comics characters. I drew these guys walking. I think I did an okay job. I mean, I'm not too thrilled about the wrinkles on the pants, but I mean, from them being that small, I think it's okay. Same thing with this. I don't know. I put way too many wrinkles right there. And looking back on it now, they don't make sense, but at the time they did. And anyway, they're looking at Betty through Betty or Betsy. I don't even know any of these guys' names really. Here's a reflection from Bruce looking at the window. It's not done very well. These guys all look stiff to me. um, but I thought, oh yeah, and anyways, I showed that to my friends, and there used to be like a college program around here. I mean, I wasn't in college at the time, but some of my friends were in college, and they had like a comic book meetup, like once every week or once every 2 weeks. And anyway, I brought some of these pages. I figured I'd get some feedback on them, and yeah, the feedback on there was like, oh, okay, I better do another one. So I was working on more pages to bring to the 2000. I wrote it right here, 2013 New York Comic Con. I tried to get into the San Diego Comic Con because that's the biggest one, and I was told, hey, if you want a job, the place with the most editors is San Diego Comic Con. So I was like, all right, I'll try to go there. But that year, everyone was trying to get in there. I'm sure it's tough to get in every year, but that year, I remember we had to get up at whatever time there was. We had to get on the computer, and then we'd be put into like servers or something. So we'd be waiting, and there's like a bunch of servers or whatever groups that had like so many people in them, and they were chosen at random, those groups. And then if your group was chosen, you could buy up to 4 tickets. And me and my friends, so I had 4 friends that wanted to go, but anyway, we didn't get picked. So I was like, what's the second biggest comic convention? And New York was what I could find, and it was really easy for that. I just went on the site, bought the tickets, and like that was it. um, anyway, this one is another one I just kind of came up with. I was using DC characters this time since I used Marvel, and so I didn't bring this portfolio to them, but I used it as practice. And oh yeah, real quick, I remember being really proud of this scene that I drew of like all this like fighting to hold Hulk back from stabbing this dude. Like the leather right there, I was like, oh man, that looks so badass. And uh, anyway, yeah, it's like I knew I was learning, and I thought I could do even better. So I was like, all right, I'll do this one. And I did this one. These pages were taking a long time, and let's see, I got to page, I think right here is where I was having a lot of trouble. And I had to do this page on the train ride there because we took a train. The we got these tickets like very last minute, and so train was like the cheapest way to go because the plane tickets went up in price way too high. So anyway, here's a Supergirl timing of Quicksilver. Oh, I guess he's a Marvel character too. And the Flash to they're eating pancakes, and they're just staring at each other. And she says go, and there's like it's supposed to be like a bunch of food getting thrown all over the place, but I just drew like little tiny things and really annoying, and people in the background reacting. And then Flash won anyway, and Quicksilver looks all dejected. Um, and anyway, Supergirl was like, "All right, good, DC won," and then she gets zapped out of nowhere. It's funny. Like I thought I was doing kind of a unique story. Maybe it is somewhat, but like they're meeting in a diner. Like things happen all the time like that, like in diners, on top of buildings. Like I guess everything's been done in comics, so but these have been done as like you know pretty exhaustively, whatever. Anyway, they look out the window. Who did that? It was Gladiator from the Marvel universe. And anyway, his eyes are glowing, and it's supposed to be he shoots where those guys were sitting, Flash and Quicksilver, and then they like those are like their speed lines getting out of there. It's done pretty poorly, and Supergirl's supposed to be like smushed in the ground. I should have did like tiles at least or something. I don't know. Um, I was really happy at the time. Now I don't know. These guys look way too small. Like their heads are too big. But I mean, I did do a ton of work though. You could see even the buildings in the background. I was trying to fit in as much as I could. I was told to work on my backgrounds again on for this um, set of portfolio set as well. I was told to work on my backgrounds. Got to work on those. Um, and I was told anatomy for everything again. Uh, One guy, he didn't really know what was going on here. If I'm gonna do this, like, because I wanted to make it look like Quicksilver's throwing a bunch of punches, but if I'm supposed to do that, I should I don't know, make it more clear, like not just draw more than just the arm or whatever. I'm still a little unclear about that. Um, and also, when I got the review for this, I was like, I had very little sleep because, like I said, I was starting to do some of these pages on the train. I was staying up all night, and I missed the very first day of the con just so I could stay up and finish all of this page. So I was going as fast as I could, and I only got like another hour of sleep during that night. So it was roughly like 3 days of not getting any sleep. I remember we were walking through New York, and we stopped at a Starbucks to get coffee, me and my friend, and I was thinking like, man, I haven't stayed up 3 days. Like I got that 1 hour of sleep, and I was like, will I be able to make it? Will I be able to function? But yeah, I guess I was. I brought these over to uh, Aspen. They're I forget. I think it was 1492 or 1942 was their booth number. I brought this over to them, and Steigerwald was doing portfolio reviews. It's like, this is amazing. He's going to see my stuff and like be blown away by it. He's going to think it's awesome. But he looked at all these, probably like a total. It felt like a minute, but like I said, I was pretty sleep deprived, so I wasn't too sure of. Maybe it could have been 3 minutes. But he looked at them and then he just handed them all back to me. And he's like, all right, well, you need to work on your anatomy, um, dynamic angles, and perspective, and well, camera angles, and making your figures more dynamic, and perspective. Like my backgrounds needed work. And man, after when he told me that, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, and he also told me to buy the comic, How to Draw the Marvel Way by Stanley and I think John Buscema. He said everything you need to know is in there. I was like, all right, I'll do that. And then, man, like after that, like my tiredness set in. I was just like, all right, I think I'm done for today. Anyway, it was a fun convention, huge too. I can only imagine if that was the second biggest, is what I was told. I can only imagine how San Diego Comic Con was at that time anyway, in 2013, because there would be like hallways and there were like wide hallways where like, you could barely like scoot by. You had to like turn yourself to your shoulder, and you're just rubbing up against everybody just to get through some lines. It was pretty nuts. Oh yeah, so anyway, these guys are like running. They split up, and Gladiator's chasing them. He's easily beating them up, and then he oh wait, I think I got these mixed up. Yeah, okay. And anyway, Supergirl comes back. She's like, that wasn't very nice. He's laughing, like, what, I don't know, whatever he's saying. And then she like punches him right in the face, but it goes like all the way through. And then uh, Flash, he gets there finally because I forgot, he had to do something because this guy, he punched him or threw him. Uh, Something happened. Anyway, Flash got, here it is right here. Flash got punched. You can see he's like that little tiny speck in the sky there. So he ran from there and he's all tired out. And then he's seen Gladiator's head and made him throw up. And then Quicksilver's like, all right, we won. And then it's the like a end of the Mentos commercial where they laugh. they're all laughing together. Um, all right, I got a couple more. Yeah. All right, and so towards the end of 2013, I got these done as quick as I could. I forget what the end date was, but Top Cow was doing a talent search then also. They seem to do it once every few years, or maybe it wasn't consecutive. I think maybe a couple years were consecutive. They did the talent search or whatever. Um, and DC did one also. I tried out for that one as well. So the script that I picked was the Witchblade one, or maybe it was Darkness. I don't know, because there's a Witchblade. She's all in her armor, and then what's his face? The Darkness guy. His name will probably come to me. But anyway, she has a kid. It was supposed to be like they had a kid, and it's like everything's all white because something happened in the universe when all these artifacts like touched and got in, in, intertwined or something with each other, and they had a kid. The kid was like, I don't even know the story, but anyway, basically they had to kill the kid in order for the universe to start over, and so anyway, that's the kid, and I'm I'm not gonna draw that, so I put like a bunch of lightning or whatever, kind of like taking place, like they're getting engulfed by this new universe, and then there's like the Witchblade thing that brought the Witchblade to Earth, and then here's all the Witchblades. They said to include the these are most of these are like Witchblades. Oh, I think it was the manga Witchblade, which I just kind of took a guess at that. I couldn't, or maybe that's her from the manga one. I don't know. I think I found it before, but I don't know. I also don't remember finding it. So I was just doing a bunch of these Witchblades that they said to use from different. Or wait, no, I think they might have had reference photos in the script. So I think that's how I through and did a lot of these. Some of them are out of my head, but it's supposed to be all the Witchblade ladies that had the Witchblade thing when. And anyway, and then there's this guy. He's like on a soapbox. I drew a milk crate, and he's supposed to be saying, like end of times. Looks like all disheveled and homeless. That's a terrible face. But at the time, I thought it was really cool. I was like, I did great, and the clothing folds were some people were telling me, work on the clothing folds, but I would only get that critique like every once in a while. So I figured it would work itself out if the more I was drawing these things and using reference. But I don't know, some things I think I have a slow learning curve on, and the clothing folds might be one of them. And like even today, I still get critiques about clothing folds. Um, so I don't know exactly. I know I got better at it, but I don't know other than constantly using reference. But that kind of gets on my nerves. Maybe that's learning, the slow learning point that I have because of that. I don't like to use reference for like everything because I mean I understand using reference for like this, and then for the next photo, it's like I don't want to have to keep putting people into that same position as the characters and then draw like a one to one. Like that seems to take all the fun out of comics for me. Like I like to make things look more cartoony, and but still able to get the message across of like how I want the picture to look. So anyway, can't please everyone all the time anyway. So she's like looking at the news is saying something. I think it's more bad news. Um, and then I think she's supposed to like look back and see that this guy's gone because he probably said something that made sense or that triggered something in her. Anyway, and yeah, these clothing folds are terrible. Like I could see all that now. Um, and let's see. Now she's walking down farther, and she sees there's uh, a lady detective talking to this person about some kind of break-in. It's supposed to be an old lady. Um, One of my friends that looked at this was like, that looks like a young woman with more lines drawn on her face. And like, I didn't really know what to do with that information. I was like, yeah, well, I already drew it. And he told me this at his house. I brought this over to my friend's place because he had a scanner that could fit these size pages. I didn't. This time I didn't even have a smartphone. I just had like a flip phone still. Um, so for reference, it was like how to go on a computer and pull it all up. Uh, but anyway, so she's talking to this person, and then here comes Sarah Bazzini. She was the Witchblade chick. She's like kind of looking and feeling like, oh, I remember I used to do all that, and just boring, it sucks or whatever. And then she's like walking back in time, and I wanted these to look like a burnt, like a map burning, because it's to show that she's going back in time. Like there's not a car there, there's horses, and anyway, and this is her thing she's wearing, her Witchblade. She goes back in time. She sees down a alley, and let's see. Then and then she sees it's this Witchblade chick. Uh, some guy was using her for Witchblade powers, and then he's like, "This." It was a. I wrote all the stuff down. It was 1870 Luger. He's loading up some ammo, and and then he had a pinstripe suit, and I thought I did pretty good on it. I mean, I know the clothing folds aren't still there, but I thought the shadows were all right and stuff. And anyway, this monster, she's like, this is really like a demon chick, and this guy like he shot the Witchblade, and then whatever this demon thing was, I forget. It said in the script of like what it was. She goes and kisses him in her demon form, and she's just like, well, all that stuff happened a long time ago. And anyway, that was it. I sent it in at the with like 5 minutes left of that deadline, and I didn't hear anything back from from Top Cow, so they didn't like it. And okay, so now my background's got much better. You could already see like a jump in improvement. uh, I got a David Finch when he was on Twitter back, this was 2014. He or was this 2013? No, it was 2014. Yeah. So he had a course that he was selling of how to do backgrounds and how to draw characters. So I downloaded the drawing course. I think it was like $40, and like a lot of really good information that and another thing too, because I got a portfolio review from him. He was saying like, even though you know that stuff and you use it, it's like you got to use it constantly and go over like what you're learning constantly. Like you're kind of putting new things together, and you're doing some improvement, and then it kind of all falls apart on you, and then you just kind of keep repeating that process. So there's like a lot of stuff that I missed on here. Um, One of the things someone pointed out, like one of the windows in the back, I forget where, but it looked like it was way too long. Maybe I fixed it after I got that critique, but I went back to Wizard Chicago Con because I don't know, that was like the closest, biggest one I could find, and I brought these pages, and I thought they were really good because I went more with shadows and shading because that's what I was studying a lot of David Finch at this time. Um, I really like that cat. I guess I remember on Instagram, Aspen Comics, they liked the picture when I put this picture up there, and I was like, all right, that's a great sign. Anyway, yeah, so I got quite a few compliments on the background for this one, except for one guy who pointed out that extra long window panel that I must have fixed. But then it was like the suits and the clothing folds. That's when I started getting like a lot of, you need to work on clothing. Uh, One guy, an editor, he was like, what is this guy floating? Because I didn't draw any background. This is supposed to be the door. It's open, and this guy's waiting on the outside of it. And this is supposed to be the Kingpin. They're doing a deal, money exchange, and then this guy he takes a drop. So he's an old guy. He starts off as this guy, And anyway, he takes a drop of whatever's one of these vials, and then he's supposed to be like changing. I wanted to make it look way more gnarly, but I guess that's the best I could do at the time. And he turns into a young guy with long hair and all that. And then he's like, "All right, thanks." And he's all big, and his suit's ripped up and terrible clothing folds. Then there he is with his bodyguards or whatever, and it's like an old lady. There's the limo pulling away, and this lady's like, "Excuse me" or something, and these guys are like, "Don't bother us." And then so she picks up her little dog, who turns into a machine gun, rips off the thing, and it's revealed it's Deadpool. Um, there was a editor, Marvel editor. I didn't know he was going to be there at the Wizard Chicago Con. Yeah, whatever. Um, and it was Justin White or Jordan White. Anyway, he was an editor for Marvel. He thought this was funny, and there was like a few panels that he said were actually good. But then when I brought my work to it wasn't an editor, but it was a guy that like managed artists. Um, I think they were Brazilian, or yeah, I think they were Brazilian, because they all had accents. And asked for a portfolio review from one of them because I thought his art looked awesome. I seen he drew some DC comics, but his English wasn't that good. So he had the manager come over, and the manager, he was like, "What is this? What's wrong with her fingers?" You know, and or I can't really do a Brazilian accent, but he was saying, he's pointing at everything. He's like, "What's happening here?" And all of a sudden, this guy is like screaming. It's supposed to be Peter Parker. Like there's this spider sense going off, and now all of a sudden he's screaming at her like he's mad. And then he tackled her, and he goes, "You got to make it more known than this, more pronounced than this, to show that he's Spider-Man." And anyway, this so in the story that it's another one I just came up with from top of my head. Deadpool, he gets those vials, but he sees that there's one gone, and he notices this guy's drinking it all, and then the guy starts changing his eyeball. So Deadpool's running away. Oh, and so this is another one that Jordan White guy, he said, "I like this panel, where he's Deadpool sliding." The manager, artist manager guy, is like, "That's a terrible panel." He basically said that all these guys are terrible. Um, he said that there was a couple of good things I did, with some shadows, but other than that, he was like, "What's going on here?" And he's like, "How did Spider-Man come out?" And I was like, "Well, that was him with his suit showing right there." So he was getting ready, and then he was like, "No, you got to make it more noticeable that he's Spider-Man, like at least opening up his shirt or something before he changes and comes back as Spider-Man." Um, and anyway, so now he's making a ruckus. This guy, he's turning into a more monster-like, and police showing up to stop him. And Deadpool's like, "I don't understand," or I don't know. He's supposed to be wondering something about the vials, and then Spider-Man's like, "Get out of the way!" And then Deadpool jumps out of the way, looks way too stiff. I think everybody told me that. It was like, a lot of these guys look stiff. Plus, they're changing in size. But I was like, this guy's supposed to be getting bigger the whole time, though. That was my excuse. But um, I know what they meant, though. And yeah, I was still got told, these are pretty good backgrounds um, by most everybody I showed. uh, and the guy that I showed, he was like, he was talking about my cars. He was like, "Those aren't cars; those are toys." So they weren't done. I think that truck is done, okay. I think it's fine. It reads as a truck, but I mean, I know that I could do better. And then he also told me that my guys are like, they're not. Like he pointed at this guy specifically, Deadpool. He said, "That's not a person. That's a troll." And he told me to break panels, break the panel. Like right here is a little tiny break. He goes, "That's way too I don't know, wimpy or something." It's like, if you want to break a panel, break a panel, like have them sticking out much farther. And anyway, it was funny too, because then like one of the artists, he could speak a little bit of English, and he was like right in the middle of the critique, he like put his hand on my shoulder. He's like, "Are you okay?" Because I guess to him, he just thought I was getting like completely berated. But like, I mean, I was fine with the interview. I mean, you could trash my work the whole time. I mean, because it wasn't me as a person he was insulting or nothing. He was just like trashing my work, and I was like, dude, I'm fine. It's just like I want to get better. So just, I mean, tell me how to get better. And he gave me some advice about, like, look at model catalogs, or any kind of where they're modeling clothes, to and just keep studying the clothing folds over and over to pick up patterns and stuff. I was like, cool, I'll do that, and I did. But I don't know, some like I said, I think I kind of have a bit of a learning curve problem on that or something. But um that was, geez, okay, so that last one was 2014. uh so that was 12 years ago. Anyway, uh but I did improve anyway on all the fronts that those guys given me. But I didn't get a job in professional comics. Let me put these all together. I didn't get a job in professional comic books, but I did start crowdfunding because I was thinking, like, I wanted to make my own stories anyway. Like, I wanted to break into comics and do like all the Image Founders guys, make build a following, make a name for myself, and then just break off and make my own comic books, my own stories, write them all myself, draw them all. And when I got aware of Kickstarter and other crowdfunders, I was like, dude, like, what's stopping me? I could do that now. I mean, I might have to work a job for, I don't know, the rest of my life or whatever. But I mean, at least I'll be able to still make my own comics. And anyway, that's what I'm doing now. And if that helps anybody, awesome. All right, thanks for checking this one out.